from Reject Tokyo, and they're hitting their shots. It's just Tops that remains. He's had some big damage games in the past, but finding a 1 versus 4 surely is a task too tall even for Tops. He's just taking the cheeky peeks, seeing if anyone's going to give him a mistake to play off. But surely you know your days are numbered in a spot like this. Smokes go out blank. Can he do anything with them?
Sara and the boys, they get the circle as well, moves up towards them, and Tops is in a world of hurt soon. Gonna have to come out, and it's Sara looking to put the final bullet in here. Tops behind the wall, going for the heal off, but he is just on it. Regiocio from the side with the nade, and the Japanese squad pick up their first chicken dinner. Sara, everyone thought maybe Stalwart gets that 2v4, but again, just like the interview, I don't think so.
Oh, it must be Christmas in Japan because they are having chicken dinner for dinner. Reject Tokyo coming out swinging blank. They've had so many second places, so many runs into the final circle, but it just felt like a bridge too far. Today, though, the confidence, the personality, always on show. In the interview, they said how they wanted to make adjustments. It's them versus Alter Ego.
With 20 points, a little bit more difficult, right? You're gonna have a pop-off game like Falcons did over on Miramar, and even that was down towards Minas del Sur, right? Which is all the way down on the southwest side of the map. It was a very odd circle, and one team was bound to reap the benefits off the back of it. But into Sandhawk we go for our first match of the day.
Here we go. Now, you talk about personalities as well. We had the interview with Sara from Reject Tokyo. This guy was pulling out the bicep flexes over the course of the past 2 days, and he has just looked so fun to watch. A lot of personality across the entire tournament, but let's see what they'll be able to do when it comes to punishing here on Sandhawk. We've been speaking about the hot drops. Oh, mate, it's unlucky that it's the Gladiators that are on the plate, and it's them versus Alter Ego. We saw this yesterday on Alter Ego got trampled. This time around, it's a bit of a more fair fight, as it seems like we've had a 1-for-1 trade that then results in all of the Gladiators getting absolutely murked, as Alter Ego shut them down in, what was that, about 45 seconds, Blank?
We barely hit into the match there. It's already done. Goodness me, Gladiator's feeling pretty rubbish about that one. Majority of the assault rifles actually went over towards Alter Ego in the first place, or to pick up a lot of those for themselves. And I think Alter Ego realizes they're kind of still on the cusp of dropping out down towards the bottom side of the lobby. 63 points, it's really not a far fetch away from 56. So getting those 4 eliminations at the start of the day there, that's going to be really good for them to remain within a position to go towards that survival stage. First circle, down towards the southwest side of the map. That's on Mad Bulls, that's towards Falcons, and more importantly, Bra Esport, who are on the climb right now. 12th place, looking to get in towards that 11th and upwards. I think this is going to be an interesting match overall. Obviously, already fairly interesting with Gladiators who desperately need a good day, getting just whipped out of the game by Alter Ego. A bit of an unfortunate trade there between Meku as well as Tixi, as Tixi had the S12K, the shotgun, which could have turned things around, yet Meku is just a little bit too fat in the door there. Can't get past him and gets razzle-dazzled down. A bit unfortunate, but for Alter Ego, this is really good news for them.
All right, this is the dream, man. To recap some of the hot drops that we had seen, obviously, it was Mad Bulls versus Falcons on the first Sandhawk.
Wow.
We had. Oh, nice nade from Bra, actually. We'll come back to this in a sec. Let's see if he can clean up here first. Kakali starting to make his move up the hill and look for the man that's a bit green around the gills. That's going to be Chief, who's down in the tree line. You can finish him off for free. No one nearby. So Loop's relatively fragmented in terms of the setup. The rest of the pack far away from the scout. So he's dealt with. But then yesterday, we did have that initial clash, right? We spoke about it, the hot drop that we had seen on our screens here that ended in seconds. Last time was a few more minutes of aggression. It came out with Alter Ego losing 2 players and then being forced to play a duo throughout the rest of the game. It seems like today, Blank, they thought, you know what, we're going back into Sandhawk, we only play one of them, let's just take it to them. And they've just straight murked Gladiators. That's a rough one as well, because we've seen first game of the day for Gladiators. Looks like when they kind of come in a little bit more chirpy, they're a little bit happier in terms of the body language. But now you got to sit there for a good 20 minutes, Blank, and think about the fact that hot drop probably didn't work.
I think for yesterday as well, that gave him a bit of that boost of confidence needed to make some of those quick rotations in a wrangle, and it's just not a good way to start your day off. For Alter Ego, on the other hand, pretty nice first day from them. Second day looking a little bit worse on that Indonesian squad, but I think that's exactly what they needed to get themselves back into the groove of things. Lynx takes a heavy hit there from CEO later. The rest of the team from Procedure Evos, not really too close by. They might be able to pick him up, but it's going to be a slight stretch. And I think for Procedure Evos, this is sort of deserved on their side of things, because this has been the similar rotate they've made every single game. Trying to pick off one of Malise's players early on makes their rotation out from Camp Bravo a little bit easier. This time around, they send Lewis and CEO later down towards that south side, prepared and waiting for that scout rotate coming through from Lynx. Once he peeks, he just gets his head ripped off. So that is a very nice read coming through from Malise Esports. Not a super hard read to make as well, considering Lynx has done it every single game here on Sandhawk. And I think this is one of the days where you might have thought to yourself, let's sort of throw him a curveball and not do that, and maybe isolate one of the players on that northwest side instead.
Let's have a look here, though. Compound clash going down before our very eyes. Bra Esports instigated this fight by striking towards Chief on the hillside. Since then, they've pushed down, got a bit up close and personal, and it seemed like they were about to run straight into the awaiting arms of the DBS. They would have had the jaws clamping down on them quickly. Instead, though, it's the utility that has allowed them to advance further forward, and Loops firing off at feet, trying to see if they can strike back at Topsic that's stuck behind a wall. Timing on this is going to be tight if he wants to get the heal off. Actually does pull it off, but it won't matter as the peak comes in, hits him with a DBS and downs him. And this is rough for Bra Blank. The longer this goes on, the more you feel for them, as they've gone from really having a good overall view on this fight of Loops, feeling confident with a one-man advantage, to now looking like there is going to be no winners from this.
It's a great comeback there from Loops overall. I mean, holding down that building, get the initial knock was gorgeous over towards Coursera, trying to get up close and personal, nades over the top to reposition Kakali on the backside of that building and then take shots at the feet afterwards. I think generally this is just kind of Loops to a T, right? Is that they have a very good understanding of how they want to play off one another, what kind of utility they want to use to bait someone out into a peak that maybe one of their other teammates can go for. It's really nice, and it's hard to keep them down overall. Zuxi runs directly into Tiamba on this north side of the map, and I think this was realistically the only thing that could have happened for Procedure Evos, which is they went down, tried to have a bit of a mess around with Malise Esports. That didn't go so well, so they couldn't send direct west. They try and make a north rotate, but Tiamba's one of the late rotators inside this lobby on that north side, so Procedure Evos have to change things up on the fly, has led them into another mistake versus Tiamba. Really bad news for Procedure Evos, and I think that's just a case of only having one game plan and then not figuring it out when things do go wrong. One thing that I'm really liking, though, this is all the way on the other side of the map. Let's take our attention over there for a second. Reject, they said over on the interview, Sarah was talking about it, said we're going to play a little bit more towards the center. Our edge playstyle just isn't working in the sense that we like to pressure teams out on the edge. The teams here are just way too good, and Reject just does not have that gun skill as of yet, or are just not feeling it enough to be taking those plays. But it's a gorgeous rotate over towards west side of Painan.
Oh, this is lovely, mate. Blessed by the circle as well as it encroaches further in. They are still dead center. Reject Tokyo. They've had quite a few second places, I will say. It's one of those where obviously it's easy to forget, right? If you're kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But they've been pulling off some big games in terms of the longevity, high survival time. Even when they do go for a call, it's kind of like the all-in, look, we'll go for 100% play. If it pays off, fantastic. If it doesn't, we'll go down early. So I do at least like the mentality they've got there, Blank, where if there is a com, even if it's risky, the entirety of Reject Tokyo will commit to it 100%. So we'll see if the adjustments in their playstyle, like Sarah said, on the stage will help them, and maybe they can secure a chicken dinner today. DX on screens as well. DX, another one of the sides that have been massively impressing us when it comes to their utility usage. Oh no. Quick flick to the Elim feed as well. You see Bra Esports. They thought they had got away from loops, but they've run straight into the other Brazilian squad that seems to want to banish them, as they're going to battle down with a few shots coming off. And they've knocked out one of Bra Esports players again. So just down to a solo there. Not great for them being able to continue from what was pretty good day of cultivating points yesterday, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, Bra Esports just hit by the Brazilian pincer. It's never a good situation to be in, and it does indeed squeeze them down to just a few players. One, in fact, with 56 points, one elimination. They are really not safe. Technically, are above Falcons now off the back of that one elimination they found over towards Chief, but that will be them going down pretty soon, I imagine, on this south side. Fairly difficult to move your way through up towards that northern edge. So for Bra Esports, this is about survival, trying to at least get some placement points, maybe finding a couple cheeky eliminations where they can. You're talking about DX. I think they're a great team to bring up, currently in 4th place right now. One team that is in direct contestation for trying to get towards that top 3, and I think they absolutely deserve it. I think they've played a very good game in a lobby where it's been really tough to make some strong rotates, to make some strong decisions. I think that they've made some really heads up rotates in towards these circles, using utility to their advantage. Lamborghini with these grenades has been absolutely fantastic to just bring themselves into positions where they can get further inwards. It's nice.
It has been really nice to watch over the event so far. It's been massively impressing me, man. Just the sheer quality of the nade usage we've seen. Like in the late game, it's been on point with some of the defensive util, but also the way we've seen so many great timings in terms of the double nades, right? They're not as easy to pull off, especially in high octane moments as they might look. Very fine margins of being able to hit both of those nades to completely shut down a squad. But we've seen it so much over the past couple of days. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of it. If you're joining us, you've arrived at just the right time, as this is our first game of the day. First of many here for Group Green. We're starting to find our way further and further through the available pool of games for these squads, though, to make points, to guarantee themselves the top 3, or at the very least, survival stage status. Still playing around the center of the circle is Reject Tokyo. Mad Balls, DX, Stalwart as well, all in close proximity. Then big rotates to be made for I8 and Alter Ego. Be curious to see if those two clash. Alter Ego, of course, they're warmed up with a weaponry from the hot drop they had, but can they punish versus I8?
Yeah, they were pretty quick off the top side of that island as soon as they saw the southwest shift on the circle. I mean, that's a pretty smart move to go for. There's not much benefit to holding up towards that northern side for too long. And I think that this has become a much easier position on the map to actually rotate through now, right? It's just been all cleared up, considering we had that push from Falcons on that very first day, which was left Mad Ball trembling on that hot drop. They've not hot dropped since, but it has mean that Mad Balls have been way more concerned with getting into the circle, and that's the final player from Kane going down on Bra Esport. Just one elimination found. Great little nade over the top side. They got close, were ready to refrag it if needs be, but just the one nade was required. But yeah, for that side of the map, over towards the northwest, it's just become so easy to rotate through. Alter Ego, in fact, opts head over towards the western side. So nice on this crossing, it's Reject likely to clash versus I8. And this is a curious fight, right? Because this is one where, with the way that Reject has been playing, I know they're currently in 6th place. They've been having a good time of it. I am worried they might just get bulldozed through. So this is a real chance to prove themselves as a strong team that deserves to be going through the survival stage.
Yeah, the proof's got to be in the pudding, so we'll see what they can give us when it comes to the delicacy. Right now, though, it's Quest that are going in, giving it quick adjustment from the vehicle to putting bullets down range and being able to farm their way through the first two players, leaving themselves at an advantage on the hillside clash now. 4v2. You've got space to play with, geometry around you to provide cover as well, with the vehicles on side to side. Tiamba are a little bit further back in the distance and are at least getting some information from this. Always potential to put a couple of bullets in the backs if you see a chance. Fragmenting on the setup though, is they want to retreat from this, playing for survivability, realizing this is a relatively unfair fight, and also catching whiff of the engine sounds. The rotate of Tiamba that we were setting up as a potential backstab, they've got eyes on the prize. Blue's going to be nipping at them as well and forcing everyone to cascade slightly further forward. Quest not ready, tunnel vision towards the front, backstabbed by Tiamba for the opening, and they've got a couple of knocks coming in every which way they would want them.
QZZ hits him a couple of Z's of his own as he puts one of the players to sleep on that top side. Now looking to push up through, but in the blue right now, it's a pretty uncomfortable spot to be in for Tiamba. All hitting the heels nice and quickly. This is a team that is not unaccustomed to playing out on the edge of the blue itself, but uphill towards another team. This does make things very awkward. One player is able to make their way in, which might distract long enough to give Tiamba a chance to start making this push. Some of these initial nades have to be really good. There is a Molotov blocking off that rock, which might allow them to push further up here. There is some more shots coming through. A lot of damage over towards Tiamba, and one is down.
First thing he goes off his shit. He wants to plunge for damage that was done to the rest of the squad. Still trying to hit shot. How's how hard he's been able to manhandle two people at once and just shut down Tiamba off the back of the two-prong peak? It felt like Quest Blank. They were really starting to tumble down the hill quickly. Instead, they've responded massively. Haji's still finding more opportunities to punish. We were saying over the past couple days, he's been a bit of a standout for Quest Blank, but that's a big play.
Yeah, Haji, even in his own region, have hit some massive shots before. And yeah, he went down a couple of times in that first day, but since then he has been popping up in that elimination feed time and time again. Serious contender here in this PMGC league stage of Group Green. It's nice to see that he continues to pop off. And I actually am kind of rooting for Quest because I don't think they've had the easiest tournaments, but they've remained keeping their heads held high to push further and further through. However, they're running into a pretty difficult team now in Stalwart, holding on the eastern edge of Tainan. There's a good chance for them here to play out the rest of the game in relative safety, but now with a couple of neighbors, Stalwart need to start thinking about defending their home territory over here. In the meantime, we've got loops, just 2 players remaining, 3 eliminations were found this match so far. Revo is down from A7, have currently been trying to remove them from this rock face. They are on the outer edge of the circle, but not inside the blue.
So you've been able to sever one of the players at least. In the battle of the Brazilian sides, and bring it back down to a slightly fairer fight. Third party will draw some of the attention as well, as Zia are off over towards the shed side. Chopper taking bullets as well, as Mythic tries to find an opportunity to put some towards him. And this is a bit of a rough clash, actually. It's probably been a bit of a blessing for Loops, especially as that zone's going to be nipping away at Zia. It means that the attention from Alpha 7 could be set on them, especially with the circle now moving as well. You've got a little bit of geometry in front of you to cover you with the rocks, but then you've got to flank around. So Zia have to pull the attention of Alpha 7. That's the play that will work out for Loops. Instead, the bullets come their way. Cardozin, though, takes one to the back of the head. Chopper traded out by Alpha 7, and the pressure mounting for Loops.